What if I told you that the biggest obstacle to your spiritual awakening isn't life itself, but your fear of death?
That's a heavy way to start, but honestly, it might be the most important question we ask today. Think about it. Millions of people report near-death experiences, sleep paralysis, astral projections, yet almost everyone hits the same wall.
Exactly. They freeze right at the edge. The moment it feels like they might actually leave their body, terror kicks in. And that terror, it's not protecting them. It's the very thing keeping them trapped.
And here's what's wild about this. Darius has been saying for years that this isn't just a psychological barrier. It's the barrier, the last illusion we need to break through.
Today, we're diving deep into why that fear exists, where it really comes from, and most importantly, what actually happens when you're brave enough to face it. Because what Darius reveals might completely change how you see both death and life.
Buckle up, folks. This one's going to challenge everything you thought you knew about consciousness, fear, and what it really means to be awake.
So let's get real for a second. Why are we all so terrified of dying? I mean, it's literally the one thing that's guaranteed to happen to every single one of us.
Right? And yet we spend most of our lives pretending it won't. But here's the thing. This fear isn't natural. It's manufactured. Think about it. A baby doesn't fear death. A wild animal doesn't spend its days anxious about mortality.
Exactly. We're taught this fear. Our religions tell us we'll either burn in hell or just disappear into nothingness. Science says we're just biological machines that shut down permanently. Hollywood shows us death is this horrific, violent end.
And don't even get me started on the medical industry. They've turned death into this clinical failure, something to be avoided at all costs. No wonder we're terrified. But Darius cuts through all of that noise. He says something that sounds almost too simple. Death isn't an end. It's a transition that fear distorts.
And that distortion, it's massive. Fear literally changes how we perceive reality. When you're terrified of something, you can't see it clearly. You can't experience it authentically.
It's like trying to learn to swim while being convinced the water will kill you. Your fear becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, not because the water is dangerous, but because your terror makes you thrash around instead of flowing with it.
So we end up living our entire lives in the shallow end, afraid to dive deep into consciousness because we think diving deep means dying. But what if that's backwards? What if the fear of death is actually what's keeping us from truly living? Okay, but here's where it gets really interesting. People who've actually had near-death experiences, lucid dreams, or out-of-body experiences, they come back with a completely different story.
Oh, absolutely. They're not coming back traumatized by death. They're coming back frustrated that they had to return to their bodies. It's like they got a taste of something incredible and then got yanked back.
And listen to what Darius says about this. He's experienced it himself. The sensation is identical to dying, but you remain conscious. This proves that life doesn't end with the body.
That's profound because think about what that means. If consciousness continues when the body appears to be shutting down, then what exactly are we afraid of losing?
Right. These people report floating above their bodies, moving through tunnels of light, meeting deceased relatives, experiencing infinite love and knowledge. Does that sound like nothingness to you?
But here's what's fascinating and kind of frustrating. The scientific establishment has an answer for everything. Oh, it's just your brain releasing DMT. It's oxygen deprivation. It's neural misfiring.
And look, I respect science, but Darius points out something crucial. These explanations only work if you assume consciousness is produced by the brain. What if it's the other way around?
Exactly. What if the brain is more like a radio receiver and consciousness is the signal? When the radio breaks, the signal doesn't disappear, you just can't tune into it anymore.
And here's the kicker. People in sleep paralysis, which terrifies most folks, often report the exact same sensations as people having mystical experiences. The only difference, their level of fear.
So the experience itself isn't the problem. It's our interpretation of it. Our fear literally transforms a potential spiritual breakthrough into a nightmare.
So here's the million-dollar question. If these experiences are potentially transformative, why do most people hit a wall right before they happen?
It's like spiritual stage fright, but way more intense. You get right to the edge of expansion, and then nope. Your whole system slams on the brakes.
And Darius explains this beautifully. He says the fear of death operates as both a psychological and energetic barrier. It's not just in your head, it literally blocks the flow of consciousness.
Think about it this way. Every time you get close to leaving your body, every time you feel that dissolution of ego, your survival instincts scream danger, even though there's no actual danger.
Right. And here's Darius's key insight. While you fear the end, you never experience the beginning. That's so profound. It gives me chills every time.
Because what he's saying is that the fear of death isn't just preventing you from dying, it's preventing you from being truly born into expanded consciousness, into your full potential.
It's like being stuck in a cosmic waiting room. You can see the door to full awakening, but you're too terrified to walk through it because you think walking through means ceasing to exist.
And the cruel irony, the you that's afraid to die, isn't even the real you. It's the ego, the constructed identity, the small self that thinks it is you.
Exactly. Darius uses this amazing metaphor. The fear of death is like the last lock on the door to full consciousness. You can have all the keys in the world, but if you won't turn that final lock...
You stay trapped in a smaller version of reality. And here's what's really wild. Most people don't even realize this is what's happening. They think they're just not spiritual enough or not ready yet, when really they're standing right at the threshold. The only thing between them and breakthrough is this one fundamental fear.
All right, so we've diagnosed the problem. But how do you actually overcome something so primal, so deeply wired into our survival programming?
Well, thankfully, Darius doesn't just point out the problem. He gives us practical tools, and some of them might surprise you.
First one's fascinating. He says to reframe sleep paralysis. Instead of seeing it as this terrifying thing happening to you, see it as a portal that's opening for you.
That's genius because it completely flips the script. Instead of, oh no, I'm trapped and dying, it becomes, oh wow, I'm being invited to explore beyond my physical boundaries.
And then there's this technique that sounds almost too simple, but it's incredibly powerful. Darius suggests having a conversation with yourself. I am ready to die.
Wait, that sounds dark, but explain what he means by that.
Right. It's not suicidal at all. It's about releasing the grip of fear. When you genuinely tell yourself, I'm ready to die, and then discover you're still here, still conscious, still you, something profound shifts.
Ah, so you're calling the fear's bluff. You're saying, okay, death, do your worst, and realizing that what you were afraid of losing was never in danger anyway.
Exactly. And he also talks about practicing small deaths in daily life, letting go of being right in an argument, releasing attachment to outcomes, allowing old versions of yourself to die so new ones can emerge.
That's actually really practical because if you can't let go of small things, how are you going to let go of the ultimate thing, your identification with your body?
And here's where it gets psychologically sophisticated. Darius connects this to Jungian psychology. Integrating the shadow of death actually frees up massive amounts of life energy.
Because all the energy you've been using to suppress and avoid death suddenly becomes available for growth, creativity, love, actual living.
It's like you've been driving with the emergency brake on your whole life and suddenly you release it. The car doesn't fall apart. It finally runs the way it was meant to. So let's bring this full circle. We started with a simple question. What if your fear of death is blocking your awakening? And now we can see it's not just blocking it, it's the central barrier.
Right. The fear of death equals the barrier to expansion. But conscious experience of moving beyond the body, that's the master key that unlocks everything.
And here's what I want to know from you watching this. Have you ever felt that fear of death holding you back from something greater? Maybe during meditation, lucid dreaming, or just in life in general?
Yeah, and what about this? Have you experienced sleep paralysis, out-of-body sensations, or near-death experiences? How did fear show up in those moments? Because your stories could help someone else break through.
Drop your experiences in the comments below. And if this conversation resonated with you, if you felt that aha moment when we talked about fear being the last illusion, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell.
Because we're just getting started with these deeper explorations of consciousness. And honestly, the next video might be the one that shifts everything for you.
And if you know someone who's ready to hear this message, someone who's been stuck at the edge of their spiritual breakthrough, share this with them. Sometimes we all need permission to stop being afraid of our own expansion.
Speaking of which, you've got 2 videos on your screen right now. Both will take your understanding even deeper. Pick the one that calls to you and continue this journey.
Because the path to awakening, it's not about avoiding death, it's about embracing the deathless nature of who you truly are.
Thanks for going deep with us today. Until next time, stay curious, stay fearless.